Hi everyone, Chaz916 here. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to continue my Proto Fae language project. Today I'm working on rune sets, rune writing, rune glyphs, and my Runic lexicon, which is basically the part of my lexicon that focuses on runes. This is video number 2. If you missed video 1, I will put a link for it down below. If you like the series and you want to see more, please consider following and subscribing. Only takes a second and it will really help my channel to grow. Okay, so first, let's do a quick review. In video 1, I talked about wanting to create my own language, and I wanted to call it Proto Fae. Now, instead of creating a conlang, which I would like to do, but which I don't have the skills for, I decided to build it on an existing conlang. I chose Toki Pona. Toki Pona is a conlang that was created in 2001 by Sonia Lang, a Toronto-based linguist. It's a small, simple language with an active community, and it's functional. And best of all, Toki Pona has a 120-word lexicon. This is really small, but it's the perfect size for a proto-language. Now, I'm building this language from my world of Eos. Eos is a very magical world. So, I decided that I needed to integrate the runes into my language, both as an alphabet and for arcana and esoteric purposes. That's the only way to make it fit. So I started off in the last video by integrating the runes into Toki Pona, which was fairly simple. I matched the runes' mundane meanings with Toki Pona meanings. Not a perfect fit, but it worked pretty well. Today I am working on rune sets, rune writing, runic glyphs, and building my lexicon. Now before I begin, some considerations that I want to keep in mind. Number 1, Proto Fae will be written in runes. The runes I'm using now are placeholders for a system of runes that I am in the process of making. The runes given to the Fae I'm going to call primal runes. They are nature-oriented. Number 2, each Fae ancestry will have its own runes. The number of runes will vary, but each will have its own. Number 3, what did the Proto Fae write on? Now, this may affect the shapes of the runes, so I'm going to kind of think on that. Okay, number 4, glyphs. Now, runes need to be combinable so that I can make glyphs. This is important for magic, so gotta keep that in mind. And number 5, and finally, runes and lexicon words need to be pronounceable. If I can't pronounce it, it's going to be difficult to use in-game. Okay, so let's start by looking at some runes. This page shows 3 sets of runes. The Elder Futhark, the Younger Futhark, and the Anglo-Saxon Futhark. Now I'm going to be drawing some symbols from here, but I also intend to Google ancient writings and symbols and come up with a lot more so that I can make them and make them all interesting. It's time to start building. So let's move on to my rune worksheet. There we go. Okay, this worksheet covers the first the first 8 runes of the Elder Futhark, which I am basically using as a placeholder for the Dwarven runes. The next column is a variant on the first one for the Elvish runes, which if you look closely, you'll notice they have a cap, a line cap, and they're more curvy. That's kind of how I'm envisioning them. And then in the third version, which is the gnome, theirs is going to be stab based, so straight line, and the runes are being put on it. So, and it's a bit more abbreviated. Now, over here, we have writing styles. Now, when I was coming up with the writing styles, I also had to consider what they were writing them on. So elves, I figured, might have come up with an early form of paper or used leaves. So I had them writing like this. Basically, it's the line cap with the runes underneath of it. And then dwarves, of course, I figured they're carving them into stone. They make basically continuous lines or curving lines of runes, just in a row. And then gnomes, they pretty much, are focused on other things. They don't do a lot of writing, but theirs is a bit more smaller, and it's continuous and it's on a staff. They probably use wood slabs or staves, and they carved theirs on that. So that's how I came up with those ideas. The last thing I wanted to work on was glyphs. Now, like I said, one of the things I had to keep in mind is my runes have to be combinable so that I can make glyphs. So I tried a copy of each of them just to see how that they would work out. Okay, so next let's do some work on my lexicon. This is worksheet 1. It shows the basic integration of Toki, Pona, and the Elder Futhark runes, the first 8. Okay, so here we have the Toki, Pona, and we have the Runic equivalents, and now what we're going to do is come up with this portion. This is my lexicon. These are the words that are going to represent these. Eventually that'll be gone. Okay, moving on to worksheet number 2. Worksheet number 2. As you can see, I've started building my lexicon. Now I want to keep in mind that the words need to be pronounceable, but at this point, I have to keep in mind that my goal is to complete my lexicon. I can make it perfect as time goes by. Right now, it is just to get it built. Okay, in this sheet, I have used 2 different methods. The first method is a fantasy translator. You can find these on the web, and basically I typed in the meaning of a rune, and then I would check and see what the fantasy translator gave me. Or in the first case here, I took the names. As you can see, I did Fehu, and then you can see the terms that I used. And then when you look at, you can also see the part or the whole words or the whole parts of words that I chose to put as part of my lexicon. The second method I used was Google, which I picked the language Basque. If you research the language, you'll understand why. It's an oddity. There were no other languages like it. It is not descended from any other ones. It's a very interesting language. So I did that on the side over here. Not sure exactly how I'm going to use that yet, but I'm going to put it here, and I may add some other languages to help build on it. Okay. So again, now we have the runes here. We have the Dwarven wording here. That is drawn from, these are the terms I typed in. This is what I got out, or part of what I got out. I don't always use the whole word that the translator gives me. Sometimes I use parts of it. It's entirely up to you what you use and, how you work it. This is what I'm doing. Okay, and then with the Google, you can see what I did here. Same thing. Sometimes I use the output, sometimes I use a derivative of it. Okay, now let's move on to worksheet number 3. Continuing, this is worksheet number 3. I've added a new column of lexicon words, this one for elves. I used a slightly different method on generating these. I used a fantasy name generator, and I generated 10 names, and then I used these to basically derive the words that I used in the column. Okay, and again, this means now that I have Dwarven words and Elven words that represent the meanings of these runes. And the Toki Pona definitions. So, I think that is about it for today. Not sure how long this is going to run. I want to thank everyone for joining me and for checking out my work. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm going to say goodbye for now. Alright.